About a week ago, I saw something in the spirit, and I saw something that looked like a train, and it was moving very, very fast. But you couldn't see the train. The person who did not know God couldn't see anything but the darkness, the filth, and the blackness of how they painted this train, how they painted everything. And they figured if they just threw enough dirt on it, enough blackness and darkness on it, that this train would stop. And it never did. This train is moving very powerfully fast. And the reason for it is because all of us are very fast heading for a time that some of us do not want to face, see, or go. We need during this hour God so much, and yet there are foolish people that pay attention to that rotten filth that comes from the news media. All the lies, all the dirt. They don't believe God. Oh, they say they do. They go to church every Sunday. They read their Bible. They say they love God. But yet when the time comes to see and ask God, to literally go to ask God to open up their eyes and receive the love of the truth, receive that these people don't care about anybody else but their own power. And you support them constantly, that the media is not your friend. The media is out to destroy anybody who does not believe in what they are doing and they know they're wrong. This is where you need to understand. When people are doing these bad things, they know what they're doing. They know they're wrong. Like I said, they support transgender, they support all this, and they know that there's only two genders. They know that if you take a child, a small child, and you uh, talk to them about and try to get them to uh, believe that they're a girl when they're actually a boy, or they're a boy when they're actually a girl, they know how vulnerable that little child is. They know that if they can get them to convince them with these things by the time they're 5 years old, they have them for a very long time. The sad part about this is the child winds up mentally and emotionally tortured with this fight inside of them that has been fed by their ignorant parents who care for nobody else but themselves. If parents are in a place now that they are killing babies even full term, then there's a lot of parents who are not parents at all. Like I said before, animals, a cat will adopt a dog and nurse it. A dog will adopt a cat and nurse it. There are animals that will adopt different species, but the human who turns into a monster, because you can't call him an animal has more loving instincts in it than these people do. If they do not realize that the body, the little body inside of them, is a life, and they say, well, it's my life and I have a right to do what I want to with it. They don't. The life in them that they want to kill is another life, and they have no right to kill a person. Oh, they say, well, it's a blob of blood, and it's this, when they have proven over and over and over. At about 6 weeks, it's fully formed. It's baby. And yet they will still do this. And some of them even go out and deliberately make babies that they can kill. Deliberately brag of how many they have killed. Like one woman, she had a t-shirt that said that she had 21 abortions. Now, why would you allow yourself to get pregnant 21 times and abort it if you didn't have something evil in your heart and in your mind? Something really bad that has to do with murder, because that's all this is about. And if you look at Romans chapter 1, everybody points to where it talks about men with men and women with women, but nobody looks at the whole line of reprobate sins that God mentioned as reprobate. He said they were filled with this stuff. He didn't say that those that gave into doing the wrong thing in that way. He said murder, even debate, arguing. Oh, there's so many, even disobedience to parents. There are so many things written in there with a comma next to each other. And he tells you in Romans 2, chapter 1, therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest. For with what judgment that you meet, you will be met again. For when you say these people are worthy of death, and you know it, you not only find pleasure in them, but you do the same things. And that's why I put certain tapes out about a men and women doing what men and women do. And you can't say it any plainer than that. That's why I put that out, because people are so filled with judgment nowadays. They look at their neighbor and they can see everything that they think that neighbor is doing wrong. Well, when you think evil of your neighbor, which the Bible says, don't pick up a cause against your neighbor. Don't do that. But yet they do it anyway. You know, there are people on this earth who believe in the principles of Jesus Christ, who believe that it is right, that an eye for an eye and revenge and a tooth for a tooth is past gone. When the grace of Jesus Christ came, those curses were broken. And God says, do good to them that persecute you and hate you. You know, there are so many people in my life that persecuted me, and they did it for years, where I did not have one friend, not one. I don't know if you've ever gone through this, but if you ever went through where your husband didn't want you, your mother and father didn't want you, all through lies, all through others lying. Your brothers and sisters didn't want you, your neighbors didn't want you, and they were all, and the church didn't want you, and every last one of them were lying about you. Every last one of them were repeating lies. And they got to a point where it built up so much that they cursed me as soon as they saw me, outwardly cursed me. I had a brother who, for no cause and no reason that God knows I loved dearly, I never talked about him, I never touched him, and yet he walked through the doors of my house, and because somebody else had told him something about me, he turned around and looked at me, and he swore at me and said, you will never convince me that you died of cancer and that Jesus healed you. You will never convince me. Now, this was a man who was a self-proclaimed atheist. Somebody was really talking to him, and I think I know who it was. But at the same time, when he did that, it broke my heart for him. I was afraid for him. And I didn't see him for like, I don't know, months. Well, anyway, he was told word for word by doctors what the doctors told me. You are dying of cancer, and you have a little bit of time. It won't happen to you tomorrow. It won't happen to you next week. But you have a little bit of time. Word for word, that's what the doctors said to me. Only difference is God healed me. But this brother of mine, he wouldn't let me pray for him. He wouldn't let me come near him. It broke my heart because I loved him so much. He died of cancer. He died. He died from the time he was told till the time he died was like 2 months, which was when they expected me to die. On that month, they expected me to die. It was on an Easter Sunday that I was healed. But what I'm trying to say to you is this. If I have God, that's fine. God says if a person is doing good in the name of Jesus Christ, leave them alone. Don't be yapping with your mouth against them. Don't be giving your opinion, because sadly to say, you may be found fighting against God. So I can't even call this a warning. It's just a reality of truth that I had nothing to do with it. When I went to go to his grave, I screamed out at the top of my lungs and fell to my knees in agony because my brother was dead and it did not need to be. But fortunately, he gave his life to Christ before he died. Fortunately, most people who have ever hurt me or did evil to me, some of them died in my arms. And if you think I found anything where I said, well, this happened to you because of it, oh no, I would be afraid to think that. I would be afraid to sit down and tell you that I know why he died. It was because no, I don't know why God took him. I don't know why he cursed me. I don't know why. I'm only trying to give you understanding that those who truly belong to Jesus Christ do have a protection on them. If they have the power to do miracles and such, they have a protection on them. Where God is not going to let just anybody tear them down. You know why? Because they have the power to reach so many souls. And you take somebody that's just walking along in life, playing church, playing here, playing there, pretending they're doing right when they know they're doing wrong, and they're going to persecute and hurt that person that is doing real works of God. This is wrong. It's not going to work. Now, I used myself as a small example, but I had given out a message before as to why people should never come against any pastor. They should never talk about them, never speak evil of them. They should, if they find fault with that pastor, they should shut up, back up, and leave. And leave that man or that woman in the hands of God. They shouldn't even pray for it, because your opinion of them means nothing to God, for you're not the one that called them. What you believe and what your mouth says means nothing to God, because you're not the one that died for them. You're not the one that anointed them. There are many people, and if you take a good look at it, there are many people who started out in the church, say, with singing. Elvis Presley, the Beatles. There's a lot of them. Whitney Houston. A lot of them started out in church. And look what happened to their lives. Although in some cases, I really believe people shot them up with drugs because they were fed up with listening to them talk about God or sing about God. That's my belief. I'm not telling you. Well, in some cases, God did reveal that to me, that they just got fed up with it and they didn't want to hear it no more. So they shot them up with drugs to control them. Anyway, what I'm here to tell you is this. Be careful what you do with this. God tells you that you are going to be held accountable for every word that comes out of here. Every word. You're going to be held accountable. It is better for you to pray that God cover every word with the blood and give you the power to receive and accept his truth. You see, recognizing God is a big deal with God. Recognizing right and wrong is a big deal with him.